Yeah.
Well, one thing about your set I like, moving on to comedy again, is when you talk about your auntie.
Oh, yeah.
Is that true? What you say about her? Is that true?
Some
For
of it.
those of you who don't know, if you could tell us a bit about your auntie.
Well, you tell them what you know about the story.
You tell me. It's
All
just
right.
I know the story. It's but it can't be true.
My auntie's a prostitute.
Yeah, that's the prostitute. Yeah.
I'll tell a story in it. Part of it is true, part of it isn't. Like the beginning bit of the story I tell isn't true, but the middle bit about the Chinese guy on the sofa, that's true. The David Dickinson bit at the end isn't true. Now, if you want to know about that, you'll have to come and watch me live. But yeah, my auntie's basically a heroin addict, lesbian prostitute that only sleeps with men for money.
There's so much to unpack in that.
There's
so much in that.
But like, I found out she was a heroin addict when I was like 15 years old. She took me out. At the time, I didn't know she was a prostitute. She used to come and stop at my mum and dad's house.
Yeah.
I was 15. She was 10 years older than me, so she was 25. And this one day, she knew I smoked draw at 15.
Yeah.
And I've gone out the house this one day, and she was like, "You going for a smoke?" I says, "Yeah." She went, "I'll come with you." I went, "All right then, sound." So she's jumped in the car with us and we've gone down the park, our local park, and there's like 4 of us in the car, me, my mate Fisher, this guy, I think his name was Grinter, and my auntie.
These names, fucking hell.
Yeah.
Fisher, Grinter.
Yeah. We were
The lads.
the lads. Ooh. And we were down the park and we had a few joints and she's gone, "Yeah, I'll try one of these." She passed me a temazepam tablet. So I was like, okay, banged it down my neck.
Of course.
Had another joint. Says, "Them tablets are shit, Mandy." And she's gone, "I've changed her name to protect her identity."
Of course.
Yeah, I fucking ain't. Her name's Mandy. So anyway, so she gave me another temazepam tablet and fucking had another joint. And I'm sitting in the car and I'm like, "This is shit." And she went, "Get out the car." So I got out the car, walked around onto the grass, boof. I just lost all the feeling in my legs and arms.
Yeah.
My legs had gone behind me. I'm laying on the floor and I'm going, I thought I was saying, I can't move my fucking arms and legs. But so my mate told me, he said, you went, like that. So anyway, they fucking got me in the car, took me back home, and there was like the drive-in entrance to my estate, and then there was a walk-in bit at the back of the estate. Mandy got out at the back of the estate and they went, "Drive round, drop him off outside the house."
Yeah.
Fucking. So they drove round, got me out. Fishers walked me to the door. Now people were scared of my mum. Her nickname was Slugger Carter. She was fucking tough as fuck.
Slugger Carter.
Yeah.
Wow.
There's a story behind that as well. She knocked some woman out down the road. Someone wrote a poem about her, an ode to Slugger Carter.
Slugger Carter.
Yeah. So fucking Fishers knocked my mum's door, and then just fucking legged it and left me on the grass. Like, so my mum's got me in the house. I don't remember none of this. All I remember is waking up the next day, coming downstairs. My mum's in the kitchen and my auntie's doing the dishes behind her. And my mum's gone, "Bit drunk last night, were you?" And as she said it, I could see my auntie just looking around going like that. And I was like, yeah, a little bit drunk last night, a little bit drunk. And she went, "You best go and check the bathroom." And I went up and it looked like a sick murder scene. Yeah, there was just fucking sick everywhere, up the walls of the bath and everything. I was like, fucking hell. Took me about an hour to clean it. Then I come down, apologised, all that sort of stuff. Anyway, I've walked outside. My auntie's come outside to me and she went, "Thanks for not grassing me up."
Yeah.
She says, "That's all right, you know, loose lips sink ships and that shit." And she went, "Look, Doug, I know you're going to get into drugs, but promise me one thing, you'll stay away from heroin." And I went, "Why?" And she went, "Because I'm a heroin addict." And I was 15 at the time. She was like 25. And I was like, "Really?" And then I says, "How long you been on that?" She went, "Fucking 10 plus years." So, and I can remember going to a flat in Hill Fields when I was a kid, and there was loads of people, and I thought they were just drunk on the sofas. Turns out they were all gouging out, which is like when you fucked up on heroin. And then I started spending more time with my auntie. I'd go around her house a lot, like when she got a flat and stuff, and that's when I got introduced to like prostitution and that, like. And I'd see her having people round.
Yeah.
And one time I went round and there was a Chinese geezer on the settee, and she actually, that's in my
Chinese
my joke.
geezer,
And I walked. Well, first of all, she's just turned around and she went, I've got a customer at the minute. Do you want to come back in a bit? And I went, no, wait in the kitchen. I had a mate with me at the time.
Yeah.
And he was one of them guys that fucking thought he'd had a hard life. So I took him round to my aunties to show him what a hard life really was. And when we've walked in, we've gone into the kitchen. He stood there and he's like, the fuck's going on in there? I says, oh, she's just going to give him a nosh for a tenner. And he was like, what do you mean? I says, oh, she's a prostitute, like. And he was like, what? And you could see it on his face. He was fucking freaked out, like. But yeah, that was kind of fucking. Wow, it was mad. Whenever I'd go around to see her, like, she wouldn't offer me a cup of tea. She'd offer me a crack pipe. You know, she was.
Of course.
Yeah.
She's accommodating like that.
Yeah. And I remember once going round to her house as well. And this is how fucking mad she was. It had got her that bad that she'd always be looking for where to get that next tenner from, whether it was sucking a dick or fucking like shoplifting or whatever. Yeah. But one day she was in the house. She went, Doug, go in the kitchen and get a tenner off that geezer in there. And I was like, what? She went, he's just punched my cake. And I went, what? Yeah, well, exactly. I was like, what?
What does that mean?
And she went, he's punched me cake, go in. And I went in and there's this Victoria sponge cake on the side and it had a fucking, like, not just a big hole, it looked like a Victoria sponge murder scene. It was everywhere, And this guy's all pissed up the wall. And I went, what you done, mate? He's like, oh, sorry. I was just a bit angry in that. I says, fucking, what's that cake ever done to you? Do you know what I mean? He was like, oh, I'm sorry. And I thought, he's pissed up. My auntie just wants a reason to get a tenner off someone. It was like, fucking just a cheap ass cake. And I went, mate, get the fuck out. And I kicked him out the house. Yeah. Then my auntie's come in like this going, did you get that tenner? I says, no, I fucking never, Mandy. I says,
punching a cake.
I says, Mandy, it's a fucking £2 cake from Iceland. Here, I'll have the £2. So I just give her £2. And turned out she'd nicked the cake anyway. So
she was quids in anyway.
Yeah, two quids in. But anyway, like, her being a heroin addict actually helped me out because years I did get into drugs, obviously. I got into your pills at raving and stuff like that. But I might as well be honest as well now and say it. I ended up, I was a crackhead for a little while. I ended up getting into the crack pretty bad.
Bloody hell.
And my missus, actually, I hid it from my missus, and then one day I just turned around to her. I was doing about £100 a day. And then one day I just turned around to my missus. I said, look, I've got a fucking problem with something. I need help. I need you to help me get off it. And then she was like on me every day and she got me off it. But then I went round to my auntie and I was like, I just want to say thanks, Mandy. And she was like, what for? I says, for being a heroin addict. And she went, what? I says, if you weren't, I probably would have been, because the way I got into the crack was I was working at Peugeot at the time. Yeah. And we were on fucking big money. We used to go around to this house and have a coke sesh. And then one day this lad's gone, here, I'll try this. And he had some of that. So then every month when we got paid, we'd go around and have a sesh on this stuff. Yeah. And then fucking one day, one of the lads has gone, here, and he's passed me a spliff. Now, I knew, obviously, being around a heroin addict, seeing it all your life, you know what it smells like, everything like that. This lad's passed me this spliff. I've took a blast on it. Instantly, I knew it was a brown spliff, like the heroin. And I went, oh, what's that, mate? And he went, oh, it's brown. I said, what are you smoking that for? He goes, oh, it brings you down off this. Now, I'd just bought my house at the time, so I knew what he was doing. He was trying to get me hooked on the brown, because my auntie had also said there's a 3-strike rule with brown. You try it once, try it twice, try it thrice. Got ya. Yeah. So I fucking had these couple of blasts. I went, mate, nah, I've paid £40 to be up here. Yeah. And then that was it then. I never went round to that house again. 6 months later, every one of them heroin addicts. So Mandy was the one that got me away from heroin, like, and if it wasn't for her, chances are I'd have got on it that day and that would have been it. Well, I wouldn't be sitting here. Yeah, here's to Mandy.
Here's to Mandy.
Fucking thanks. So, like, this is the beauty of comedy as well, Tharun, right? Yes, I tell a joke about my auntie, but it's laced with some truths. Yeah. And it's like, what do they say? Funny shit can come out of some of the most traumatic situations, can't it?
Yeah.
And that's kind of one of them, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Fucking went really dark really quick, haven't we?
We've really been going.
Yeah. What do you think of fucking Palestine?
Palestine drugs, guys.
Yeah. You got any needles? Yeah, but like that's the mad thing. Like people hear that story, and a lot of them. I remember doing it. One of the first times I ever did that story was at a gong show for Spiky Mike, and I was outside, and a few of the lads turned around and went, how the fucking hell did you come up with that? And I went, I didn't, it happened. Yeah. And they were like, really? And I went, yeah. And that's the beauty of it. I told it at the beginning as a true story, and then I sort of embellished it and made it into what you see today.
As comedians, we take a true story, obviously add a bit of spice to it to make it funnier, but the core part of it is true.
Yeah, of course it is.
It is. Yeah. Bloody hell.